Let's jump right in. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a concept that absolutely flipped the script on modern work. Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek. But look, we're not treating this like a literal time card. That misses the whole point. We're going to look at this as a timeless operating manual. It's all about reclaiming total control over your time, your income, and your location. So, let's get into it. We got to start with a really jarring contradiction, one that kind of challenges everything we're taught about career success. Think about it. Does earning more money actually create freedom? Well, the reality is bringing in a massive absolute income means absolutely nothing if you have zero control over your time and your location. I mean, if you're making $500,000 a year, but you're literally chained to a desk for 80 hours a week and you never see your family, are you actually free? It really comes down to this core distinction. The traditional trap assumes that total dollars dictate wealth. That's what we call absolute income. But Ferriss talks about a subculture of people who measure wealth by relative income. This is totally different. Relative income combines what you actually make with how long it takes you to earn it and how much control you have over where you are. So making $100,000 while working, say, 10 hours a week from a laptop anywhere in the world, that represents a vastly higher relative income than grinding out $200,000 during an 80-hour work week in a gray cubicle. And to achieve that high relative income, you need a system. What you're seeing here is essentially the master architectural blueprint for escaping that deferred life plan. It's designed to move you from being this stressed out bottleneck in your own life to actually designing a life of absolute freedom. It's a really powerful structural methodology. To make this super actionable, we're going to systematically walk through the 4 pillars of this system: definition, elimination, automation, and liberation. You'll often hear this called the DEAL framework. Okay, starting with step 1, definition. This is where we flip the script on success and completely replace those self-defeating assumptions we all have about work and career. You know the standard drill, right? The deferred lifer basically saves everything for this retirement worst-case scenario. The whole assumption is work incredibly hard right now, save every penny, and then way later in life, finally stop working and do what you want. Well, the new rich mentality flips this completely upside down. They focus on having others work for them, putting in the minimum effort for the maximum results today, and, this is key, taking regular mini retirements throughout their active lives. Why wait until you're 65? But to actually do this, you have to calculate your goals differently. Instead of just trying to hoard some arbitrary $1 million in a bank account, you can use a Dreamline worksheet. What it does is calculate your target daily income. You literally just add your monthly expenses to the actual monthly cost of your dream lifestyle and divide by 30. And you know what? You almost always find that financing a dream, like a nice car or a massive trip, on a monthly basis costs way less than you'd think. This quote really hits the nail on the head. People don't want to be millionaires, they want to experience what they believe only millions can buy. You really don't need $1 million sitting in the bank. You just need to design the monthly cash flow to support your ideal lifestyle right now. It is a total paradigm shift. Which brings us to step 2, elimination. This phase is all about doing less, but doing it better. Because, and this is a golden rule, you should never ever optimize something that should be eliminated completely. Just look at Pareto's law in action. It tells us that 80% of your desired outputs actually come from just 20% of your inputs. Think about that for a second. That means the vast majority of what you do all day long, it's probably just low-value busy work. You have to identify those few absolutely critical tasks that drive your income and ruthlessly cut the rest. So less time mindlessly scrolling through Slack and a lot more time doing actual, focused, deep work. And when you combine that 80-20 rule with Parkinson's law, things get really interesting. Parkinson's law basically states that if you give yourself 12 hours to do a minor task, it's going to take exactly 12 hours. The task just magically swells to fill the time you give it. So, the fix? We have to set incredibly short, clear deadlines to force ourselves to focus only on that 20% of tasks that actually matter. To reclaim your time, you've got to put up some serious guardrails. You need to cultivate what's called selective ignorance, deliberately ignoring irrelevant stuff. Go on a low-information diet. Stop the endless doom scrolling. You also want to batch your time-consuming tasks. So maybe you only check emails strictly twice a day instead of keeping that tab open all the time. And importantly, empower your colleagues. Give them the authority to resolve small issues, say any customer problem under $100, without needing your approval every single time. The legendary Bruce Lee actually summed this up perfectly. One does not accumulate, but eliminate. It is not daily increase, but daily decrease. In the elimination phase, your only goal is absolute effectiveness. Don't try to perfectly execute a task that shouldn't even be on your to-do list in the first place. Okay, so now we've freed up your most valuable asset, your time. Let's move to step 3, automation. This is where we take that lifestyle cash flow and put it on autopilot. But there is a very strict progression here if you want to remove yourself as the bottleneck. You can't just skip straight to the end. First, you have to do the work so you actually understand it. Second, you eliminate all the unnecessary steps. Third, you delegate to virtual assistants or other team members. Fourth, you systemize those operations so they're easily repeatable. And then, and only then, do you automate the rest using software.
This really gets to the ultimate goal of automation for any modern creator or entrepreneur. Ferriss notes, problems, as a rule, solve themselves or disappear if you remove yourself as an information bottleneck and empower others. You're basically building a system of management by absence. The true test of a successful system is that your business runs flawlessly when you are completely unreachable.
And finally, we reach step 4, liberation. This is where we break the physical and mental bonds tying you to a single geographic location or a traditional 9-to-5 desk. For today's remote workers and entrepreneurs, liberation is all about leveraging geographic arbitrage. That means earning in a strong currency, but living in a place with a lower cost of living, which instantly multiplies your wealth. It's about taking those multiple mini-retirements throughout your life to recharge, instead of deferring all your joy to old age. But above all, it's about finding deeply meaningful and purposeful things to actually devote your newly found free time to. Because let's be real, the 4-hour work week isn't some literal mandate to just sit on a beach and drink pina coladas forever. Honestly, that gets boring really fast. This is a structural methodology. The goal isn't simply to work less. It is to design a life in which work no longer dictates when, where, and how you live. It's all about securing total control over your time, your income, and your mobility. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. If you successfully removed yourself from the daily grind tomorrow, if you built this hidden system and gained total freedom of your time and your location, what purpose would you actually choose to pursue? Because escaping the system, that's only half the battle. Deciding what you do with your freedom, that is where the real journey begins.